Thanks for joining us. Today is our sessions on maps for elections. All right. My name is Kwek Sir Guang King. I am the founder of Data N. I'm also a data journalist based in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I am not part of Google, right? I'm not hired by Google, different from Trina. I am just, being a trainer for the sessions, right? I have my own full-time job and my own company to run. So again, just to let you know, everyone, and especially for those who just joined us for the first time, right? This is a series of workshops focusing on the coming Sarawak state elections. And this is, hosted, organized, and funded by Google News Lab and also Google News Initiative, right? And for those for those of you who would like to get in touch with GNI or Google News Initiative, you should get in touch with Trina. Trina, she's the teaching fellow for GNI in Malaysia, and she is based in KL as well. For those of you who would like to learn more about, training skills, tools for journalists, right? Google News Initiative has a website that offers all these online workshops, right? So the URL is currently on the screen, right? g.co/news training. All right, so today we're going to talk about maps for election. So for those who just joined us, please register a free account on Flourish, right? Immediately now, okay? If you don't have an account, go and register one, right? It's free, you don't have to pay anything. Just pick the free account using any of your email service. And if you're on your phone, then I would encourage you to switch to your laptop because we are going to practice how to make Sarawak election maps using Flourish, okay? So today there will be no slides to share with you, no tip sheet, nothing. Today, 1 hour will be, most of it will be spending on just, look at how do we make basic election maps, right? Okay, let me just give you a very short introduction to digital map, all right? So what is a digital map, We all have seen a physical map, right? We know what is that, piece of paper, with different details and data on that paper, right? But what about digital map? Digital map is actually made of points, okay? So we first started with different points on the map, right? And those points come in pairs. If you still remember your geography lesson in your secondary school, high school, right? They are called coordinates, right? And you have latitude and longitude, okay? So you have a pair of points, right? And that represent a location on the surface of the planet Earth. So what is latitude and longitude, as you can see here? Latitude means the horizontal lines. Longitude is the vertical lines, right? So there are different ways to write coordinates, right? The traditional way, right? If you are like me, I went to school in the 90s, right? I think my teacher taught me, the degree, minutes, and seconds format, right? For example, 40 degree, 26 minutes, 46 seconds, north, right? This is the latitude. And then we have the longitude. Then you 79 degrees, 58 minutes, 56 seconds west, right? West means that, it is on the west of the Greenwich line, right, for longitude. East is of course, is the east of Greenwich line, right? So all the areas in Africa, in Asia, we are our longitude is east, right? And for latitude, right, we have north and south, right? North, of course, is above all the lines above equator, the equator line. Malaysia is also above equator, right? Okay. But nowadays, when we switch to digital map, right, usually we don't write in degrees, minutes, seconds anymore. We write in decimal. And we use positive or negative sign to indicate whether it's north, south, or east, west, right? So look at this. The same coordinates, now it is written in the decimal format, which is 40.446. This is for the latitude. Because it is positive, which means it is above the equator. It is referring to a location at the in the North Hemisphere, and you have negative 79.982. This is actually the same as the 79 degrees, 58 minutes, 56 seconds, right? This is actually the same, just a conversion, right? And negative means that, is on the west, okay? Positive means it's on the east, right? So this is the longitude. How do you do the conversion? You can just Google. There are, formula to do that. It's not that hard, right? There are also converter online that can help you to convert if you get your coordinates in degrees, minutes, seconds, right? So these are basic things, and actually we all have learned about them in our high school. Okay. Right, and then we will see, on map, we don't just have points. We also have what we call a polygon. Polygon is a shape, okay? For example, the border of a constituency, the boundary of borders of a country, right? So we call them a shape or a polygon. And how do we code a polygon in numbers, right? It is actually a series of coordinates, you can see here, formed together. If you join them together and become a closed area on the map, then it becomes a polygon or a shape, okay? Right, and this kind of data, right, you cannot store it as a spreadsheet, which means you cannot spread it. You cannot store it in Excel file with 2 columns, right? Just now the coordinates, you can store it in Excel file, right? Let's say you have the coordinates of your house, and there is a column of latitude and there's a column of longitude, right? So you can store that in a table. And table means that you can store it in a spreadsheet, right? Whether it is Excel or Google Sheets, right? But for Polygon, you can't do that. Why? It is because it is not just a series of points with coordinates, but there is a sequence, right? You have to join this point with this point with this point, and then comes to this point and another point, right? So there's a sequence. You can't, if you just put in all these different coordinates, right, in a table, the table doesn't tell you how they are joined together to form a polygon, right? And because of that reason, shapes or polygons are not stored as spreadsheet. They cannot be stored as a spreadsheet. And because of that, we have special formats for polygons, right? Here are some of the usual formats that we always see, right? The KMZ, if you see any files end with .kmz or .kml, those are polygons file in the format preferred by Google, whether it's your Google Earth or Google Map, right? The second one is SHP. It actually stands for shape, right? It's a shape file. The third one is GeoJSON, or sometimes you will see TopoJSON, right? So when you see all these different formats, don't panic, right? It just means that those files inside, they have data about polygons, right? And sometimes different tools, different software prefer different format. Sometimes for Google Earth and Map, they only accept KMZ or KML, and they only export KMZ and KML as well. So you need to switch between different formats. And there's a software for that. It's called MyGeoData, all right? And there are other, tools. One is called MapShaper that allows you to check, and edit your vector file. You want to see how your vector file look like, you open up MapShaper, you upload your file, and you're able to visualize it. Because why? Because there's no software on our computer that can open it, right? We can't open it with Excel, we can't open it with PDF or WinWord, right? So we need something, and that something is, one of them is MapShaper, right? Which is an online tool. You can also install an open source tool called QGIS, right? This is by far the most popular open source mapping, or GIS. When we mention GIS, we mean Geographical Information System. GIS software in the market, right? It's free because it's open source, right? A lot of people use it, right? It can open all sort of different formats and do all sort of manipulation and editings, right? This is QGIS, okay. GADM here is simply how do I say it? A website that stores different types of map files. Usually those map files are for administrative areas. For example, you want to know the borders of District Petaling Jaya, or you want to know the borders of the KL Federal Territory, right? But the best, of course, the most accurate is that you get those files from our government, right? The government that keeps the official versions of all the borders and things like that, right? So for Malaysia, it would be the Geoscience, I don't remember the name, Remote Sensing Department, right? All right. So those are just some of the basic things, so that now you have an idea about map files. Okay. So when we are talking about making a digital map, basically we are saying we are playing with different layers. We stack the layers together to form a map, right? At the bottom, it is always the base map. Base map, for example, the world borders of different country. That's a base map. On top of it, right, if you have external data, if you have your own data, right? For example, you have a polygon file of a national parks, for example. You can then put it on top of the base map, right? So you have a base map, and on top of it, you have a shape, right? That tells you this is the national park. Okay. On top of it, you can have also bubbles or markers. Markers are coordinates, right? Let's say that this is the national parks, right? And there's a point here, where you can see tiger, and there's a point here. This is the rest station, for example. This is the ranger, hostel, and things like that, right? So you can have several different layers of information put on a same base map, right? And when you put them together, stack them together, and you look at it from top, then you will see different information inside the single map, right? So this is the idea of making a digital map, right? It is very similar to Photoshop. For those of you who use Photoshop, you know that Photoshop is basically about putting different layers together, right? Okay. Later we'll use a very simple, just the base layer to make our election map, right? So that is a very quick introduction to digital mapping. Okay. Now I want you to look at the most basic tool that you can use to make a digital map is Google Maps. Okay, so just look at this story. I can share with you the link here so that you can check it out. I'll put it in the back at the chat box, right? This is a story that was done by Malaysia Kini during the Sri Setia by-election. All right. So what they got is that they had the location of all the ceramah, the campaign of both parties, right? I think it's PAS versus PKR. Okay, yeah, PAS versus PKR, correct. So you'll see that these are all the activities, right, organized by PKR during the campaign. These are the activities by PAS, okay? And you can see that this two, when you plot them out, okay, the red color, so let's go back to our concept of layers, right? The bottom layers is Google Map, okay? You can see that, right? On top of Google Map, the second layer is the red color polygon, right? What are those? Those are daerah mengundi in the Dun constituency, right? Because you have Dun, and then under Dun, you have the smaller area, we call it a daerah mengundi, right? So you can click on them. And then the third layer is a layer of markers, okay? The blue markers, okay? So here we have 3 layers going on actually, right? 1, 2, 3. By plotting the activities on the map, we will know that, most of the campaign activities focus in this area and this area, right? So this story is about why both parties focus their campaigning in those areas. And those areas are actually the PPRT, right? Which, are families who were relocated from squatter village to low-cost apartment, right? So this is the interesting thing. If you don't plot it right, you actually don't see the trend. You won't be able to see that. Actually, a lot of activities are going around here. Okay, so this is using a tool called Google My Maps, right? I don't have to show you how to use it because it's pretty easy to use it, right? It is just a Google Map interface. You can draw your own boundary. You can put in coordinates. You can import some shape file, some JSON file into the tool. what I'm going to show you today is a more complicated tool, right? It's called Flourish. Okay. So for those, please go into Flourish. Now sign into your account. And you should be seeing your your dashboard, right? But for those new user, this area is empty, right? Because you have not made any visualizations yet. Okay, so please everyone sign into your Flourish account. We are going to make a map together. I'm going to show you how to make the most simplest map, the simplest map that we always see during an election, which is this one. Right? All the different dun in Sarawak and which party won and their margin, right? Not margin, this is their percentage of votes that they got, right? Percentage of vote, right? So we are going to make this, okay? So please log in into your Flourish account, okay? Before you start anything, right, I have some files for you that I have made. Can you download them from this folder? Okay, I'm going to get the link of the folder. I'll put into the chat box. Can you access this folder?
Sorry, I think
sorry.
Public.
I think this is the, sorry, I sent the wrong link. Here, this is the one, copy link. Can I remove my message in the chat box? I can't. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, this is the correct link. Yeah. Okay, can you open it? And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there are 5 files. You can download every of them, right? Right click and then download, right? Download all of them, the 5 files. So for those who have done the downloading, you can have a look at the file. The first one is a CSV file, okay? If you open up the CSV file, let me show you the CSV file. Okay, you can see my CSV file, right? If you open up CSV file, you will see that, this is the results of the Sarawak elections in 2016, all right? You have the jumlah undi for each dun, the dun code, dun name. Calon M means calon yang menang, okay? And the calon party, the undi that the calon got, and the percentage. Percentage is basically the undi that he or she got out of the jumlah undi, right? How many percent of the undi out of the jumlah undi that he or she got. And calon K is the calon kalah, okay? However, we know that in a seat, there are more than one, some seats that have more than one calon, right? I only pick the calon with the second highest votes, right? I don't put in all the calons, right? So the party, the undi, the party and the undi, right? Then we have a value, right? This value is actually the same as the undi percent, okay? This value is the same as undi percent. However, if it is not a BN party, for example, it's DAP or PKR, right? The value become negative, okay? This is a calculation that I did. I say that, okay, if this is not BN, then convert this percentage, 63.91, into negative 63.51, right? As simple as that, okay? There's nothing special, right? Just that I'll show you why I did that later, okay? Why I want to do that, right? So the name, the votes, if it was won by the opposition, right, then the value become negative. This is the percentage, right? How much votes that that party got from that in that constituency. Okay, so this is the CSV file. I got the CSV file from the official SPR results. Okay, I download I actually convert the PDF here into a Excel file, and then I extract out the number. I spent about 1 hour doing that. Okay, not that much. 1 hour, consider, there are 82 seats. Great. So actually, this one you can get from the SPR website. It is official file. Then you have also keputusan, PRU. This one can be opened in your Google Sheets. If you download it, and probably you don't need this. Actually, you don't need this. Just show you. This is exactly the same file. Okay, the same file that I compute. Okay, the same file as the CSV, but later you only need the CSV. Then there is also GeoJSON, Sarawak Dune hex style, and Sarawak Dune GeoMat GeoJSON. So these two are the polygons. Okay, polygon file. You won't be able to open it, in your laptop using Excel or any other software unless you have some mapping software, right? But this are the shape file, right? They will show you the boundaries of the constituencies. Okay, everybody download all the files. Ready? All right, cool. Thanks, Trina, for sharing the link again into the chat box. All right, now let's go back to Flourish. We are ready to make a map, right? So click New Visualization. Scroll down. So Flourish, of course, for those who have attended Trina in sessions yesterday, you know that this is a data visualization tool, right? You can be used to make all kinds of different charts. Okay. We also can use it to make maps. Okay. So today we are going to use the second group of templates, which is projection map, right? However, if you look through all the countries here, there's no Malaysia, right? Of course, there's no Sarawak. Okay. So in this case, we need to choose the first one, blank, upload your own GeoJSON, right? So you see that the word GeoJSON, because that's why our file is in GeoJSON format. All right, got it? Okay, so click on the first one, blank, because we are going to upload our GeoJSON because there's no template of Malaysia or Sarawak for us to use. Okay, as simple as that. So now in here, first give it a name. Okay, Sarawak, election 2016. Okay. And now it's empty because we need to upload our GeoJSON file. How do we upload it? It will go to data because GeoJSON file is our data, right? You get the data. In data, you'll see that it's empty here, okay? Because there's no data yet, right? Once you upload the data, right, the visualization should be shown under the preview tab, okay? So go to data. There's a button here, upload data, right? If you click the drop-down menu, we will have three options. One is upload data file, right? The second one is upload data and merge. The third one is import from URL. Okay, so we are going to do the first one, upload data file for our maps, okay, for our constituencies map. Okay, so we click the first one, upload data file, and click on this button. Go and find your GeoJSON file, which is hold on, where's my GeoJSON file? Give me 1 minute, guys. Use the Dune GeoMat GeoJSON first, okay? Dune GeoMat, not the hex style. Okay, I will show you what is hex style later. Just use the Sarawak Dune GeoMat, right? The Sarawak Dune GeoMat. Click continue. 83 rows uploaded. Now select the columns. Okay, so have a look at your data now. All right, this is the shape file that I shared with you just now. The GeoJSON file, the Dune GeoMat GeoJSON. Okay, let me close the unrelated tab. Okay, so now we see that there's a geometry. Geometry is actually the shapes. Okay, as a name, description is null, and you have the PID PRU40. This is the parliamentary code, and this is the parliamentary constituency's name. This is the state constituency's name, code and name, right? N01 of bar. You should have N01 until N082, because in total there are 82 constituencies in Sarawak. Everyone got that? If you have any questions, let me know. Put it in the chat box, right? If you can't get this. Okay. So now, after we put in the data here, right? Look at the menu over here. This is where we need to tell Flourish. Flourish will automatically detect that, you know, column A is the geometry, right? Geometry means the map, the shapes, okay, the polygons. The name, we can give it like each geometry, each shape, right? What is the name of that shape? So let's put this one, DUID RU40, right? We put a code as a name, right? So this is under column F, right? So we should put a F here. Once you put it, right, you will see that this column become purple color, same as the color here, because now you know that name is F. Okay. There's no value here because our election results is not here. Our election result is in our CSV file, right? So we don't have to put in anything. All the other things we don't have to put in. We can leave them blank first. Just put in the name first. Okay. Once you're done that, go back to preview. So now, where's my map? If you look very careful, very careful, your map is actually here. You see that, like the small one that is actually Sarawak, because by default, it is showing the world map. All right, let me just answer questions by Nasmi. Hextile or GeoMap? Nasmi, download both maps, right? But now use the GeoMap first. You download both. But for our first map, we use the GeoMap first. When you upload, when you go here and upload data file, you upload the GeoMap, right? But you should download both files. Okay, back to our map. The map here is here, right? So you can try to zoom in. So you need to hold down your command or your control button. Zoom in, 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 and you'll see that Sarawak is there, Sarawak is there, Sarawak is there. All right, that's bad. Okay. There's a faster way of doing that, guys. The faster way of doing that is that under the menu here. So this menu, this panel here is to style your map. You know, change the color, put in your title, put in a legend. You know, all those things, all those styling, colors, or interactive part of it. Okay. In this case, the projection, under projection, the bounds means that, you know, the boundary of the map, right? You should just click auto. And you should see your map here. You know, now sometimes it's loading not that fast. Try to go back to world, come back to auto again. It should be here. If it's not here, don't worry, guys. Don't worry. Change your projection. Projection means that, you know, how do you project your map, right? But don't worry about it. Always scroll down and pick Miller. Okay, always pick Miller. Miller modified Mercato. Okay, let's just pick that. My map is still doesn't here. It still doesn't work. Did you get yours? So I'm going to put in for projection, select Miller. Okay, if it doesn't work, sometimes, you know, what happens is that you can just refresh your page. It depends on your internet connection. Sometimes it is not. Yeah, now you have it, right? So just refresh it. Sometimes the connection is not that smooth. You won't see your map. So if you can't see your map, just refresh it. Don't worry, it is automatically saved, so you don't have to click and refresh. Just refresh it when you can't find your map. So now I have the map here. Okay. So now it's nice. I mouse over, I can see the name of the shape. Just now we gave the name, right? We say the name is the code of the constituency. So now you'll see the name, right? So everybody got this? Anyone stuck anywhere? Let me know now. Right. So now we have the maps. We have the shapes here, right? So the next thing, of course, we need to do now, we need to import the election result, right? And the election result is in a separate file, right? Election result is under the CSV, right? Just now I show you the CSV. So now let's go back to data, right? We need to upload a second file, which is our CSV. Okay, go back data. Now you have to change the drop-down menu here, right? Just now we select upload data, replace data with uploaded file. If we select this again, we will replace the data here. We don't want to do that, okay? Because we already have our shapes, our polygons here. Now we need to pick the second option, upload data and merge, right? We want to merge the description here, right? Merge current sheet with uploaded file. It could be Excel, CSV, TSV, JSON, GeoJSON, right? So click the second one, okay? And then click the button. Remember, click upload data and merge, right? Remember to select this and upload the CSV file that you just downloaded from the folder. Okay. So now, just look at this, right? We need to join the two different files together. How can we match? Let's say you know that this is actually for, this is actually N01. We need to match it with, so that the first row, right, is N01. So we need to match it with the N01 result in the CSV, right? We need to match that, right? So what happens is that in both files, right, in the shape file and also in your CSV, this is your CSV, right? You need to have a common columns in both files that can match together. You get what I mean? Here, I'll just exit it later. I'll just show you. Okay. We have a N01, N02, N03, right? So in our CSV file, we also have a column that has N01, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is very important because Flourish is going to match the two different data sets based on the DUN code in the CSV as well as the DUID-PRU14 column here. So if this is 01, then this is 01, right? And Flourish will grab the data here from 01, right? And put it inside the same table here. So we will have not just the shape of the constituency, we will also have the results of the constituency. Got it? So we need to tell Flourish which column to match with which column here. I hope that's clear. So again, let's do that again. Upload data and merge. Select the CSV. And the current data is DUID-PRU14, right? Correct. This is the N1, N2 code. On the CSV, this is the CSV, right? The same data, the matching column is called DUN code, right? So it's DUN code. So which is correct, right? So this is correct. And you will see the result is here. The first one, geometry, you can see that there's geometry. These are all the data coming from the shape file, right? But if you go to the back, you will see now you have jumlah undi, DUN name, calon, parti undi, which comes from the CSV, correct? Okay. If they are columns that they are rows, right? They are data that they don't match, right? You can choose to keep the data that don't match. But in this case, there's no data, 0 rows, right? So you don't have to keep because every rows match with each other because there are 82 rows here and there are also 82 rows here, right? So they should match with each other unless your spelling here is a bit off. It's not N19 but N.19, then it will Flourish will not be able to match them. Okay. So you can just keep those default, you don't have to change anything. Just click merge now. So 83 rows will uploaded. Why there are 83 rows and not 82? Because there's one row of the header, right? Call it header, the title. Okay. Next, select. Okay. Now we see our merge data, right? We have the geometry data, right, from the JSON file, and now we also have the result from the CSV, right? Both data files are now merged into one single table, right? So this is what we want, right? First, we have the shapefile. Then we merge the shapefile with our CSV, right? Using the column of the state's constituency code. All right. So far, so good. Questions? Anyone stuck? If no, then I'll continue, right? Let me know if I'm going too fast. If you want me to repeat something, right? We can do that, no problem. Or later, you can rewatch the video, okay? Right. The next thing is that we are going to color the shapes, right? Color the shapes. Let's do which party you want first, right? We don't go into the Undi percent. We don't go into the value first. So let's just show a simple map of which party win which constituency. So that is under party, right? We want to color the shapes here based on the values under party. Okay. So now you see that this panel, there's a value, right? Just now we leave it blank because we don't have any value. Now we have, right? So now I'm going to put K as the value. Okay. And the Flourish will automatically color it for you. Okay. Now you see BN, DAP, PKR. Right. So you'll see the seats won by BN and DAP and PKR. Right. That is that simple. Yeah, that's it. You got it already, right? Of course, you want to change the color, right? PKR shouldn't be green color. BN is blue color is fine, right? So let's change the color here. This is where you can style your map, right? So let's go to, there's a point layer. Point layer is when you put in markers, right? When you put in markers, you can actually put in markers here under this tab, points. You can put in new markers. Currently, these are all the markers for different countries, right? You can ignore them, you don't need them, you can even delete them if you can, yeah, probably we should delete them. No, when you delete them, just Control A, select everything and click delete. They're gone. Okay. Because they will mess with your map, so delete them. Right? I mean, why do we have all these things? This is by default. By default, Flourish gives you all this data, right? But we don't need them, so we just delete them. Okay. So go back to regions. So now we don't have any point, right? So we only have to change the options under regions layer. Okay. So this is where you can pick your colors. All right. So if now it is following the color palette, right? First color is blue, second color is yellow, third color is green. Okay. If you want to have custom color, then you can do the custom overrides here, right? So the way to override is to write party A red, party 2, a hex code, right? Hex code is the code for colors. Okay. So that's, you can do like, remember your party A, party B, right? It have to be exactly the same as here, BN, DAP, or PKR like that. Okay. So let's do BN. Then you can put blue. And then DAP, you can put red. And what else? PKR. PKR. What's a good color for PKR? PKR is also red. It's a light blue. Yeah. So light blue. I can't type light blue. I don't think it works. So it doesn't work. Okay. So so if the color doesn't work, right, you might want to change it to use hex code. Sometimes I don't know why the color doesn't work. Oh, okay. Let's use the hex code. Yeah, Trina, what hex code is that? Is that for which party? Light blue. Okay, that is for PKR. So let's do PKR and code. Yep, now it's light blue. So guys, the code, right, it just means that, it's like you go and buy your paint, right? Each color has a code. So in digital world, right, each color has a code as well, right? So let me just find red. We call it hex code. Okay. This is red, okay? So I'm going to put DAP as red. BN, I think BN is something like a naval blue. Yeah, I think BN is always, they use that naval blue, right? I'll just put in the blue here. Okay, cool. Now we have the BN, PKR, DAP map, right? Okay, guys. Now we can also do the pop-up. You can see this is called pop-up, right? Pop-up means that when your readers mouse over, you will see the details. Right now, you only see N95 and the party BN, right? So if you want to do that, we should go down, okay, and customize pop-up and panels, okay? And then under pop-up, we should pick custom. Custom means that we want to put in our own information, right? So now it's pop-up header and pop-up main content, blah, 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 right? Now, if you hover, you see that it appears here, pop-up header, pop-up main content, things like that, right? So let me do the header. If you want to get data from here, right? First, you guys, you should include the data that you want to show in your pop-up, right, under metadata for pop-ups. Okay, so let's put the column that I want to show under metadata, right? I want to show the name of the dune. So I'll put in G. You can put multiple column, yeah? G, I want to show the calon, right? Calon is J, so I comma J, okay? I have the party, okay? I just need the party and the calon. I think that's it, okay? That's it. Once you click enter, you will see that it becomes light blue color, right? It's the same color as here. So G and J now is the metadata. So now you can put in G and J in your pop-up box, right? But have to remember the name of the title, okay? So this is Dune PRU 14, right? So go back to here. Umi, the answer is that you can put all columns in metadata if you want. You can put everything in metadata. It doesn't have any limit, okay? So here, my pop-up header, if I want to put, like, the header should be this N, right? And Dune PRU 14, right? So I should put in this, I should put in the title here. But remember, you need a double curly bracket, okay, to put inside here. And then another double curly bracket, put inside here. And now you will have the N plus the name, the code plus the name. I'll put in the chat box, right? If you can't see my screen because it's too small, I'll just put in the chat box. You can just copy and paste it in under the header, okay? Then the content, what about the content, right? The content we are going to put, now we can type something, right? For example, calon, menang, okay? And the second line is, of course, party, okay? That's it, right? Calon menang and party. Okay, then we put again the double curly, okay? And we should find the calon name, which is calon M, the column title, okay? Calon M, and then the party. The party is under, is party, okay? It's P-A-R-T-I, okay? Then I'm going to put in party. Okay, now let's see. You have calon menang, you have party BN. Okay, got it? So that is how you are able to customize your custom pop-up. Okay, if you want to bold something, right, you make it bold, right? Let's say you want the calon to be bold, right? You can put in a code. This is called a HTML code. Okay, let me just put in two code outside of party and calon. Open and close the code. Now you see the name of the calon and the party, they are now in bold, right? So let me also put this in the chat box so you can copy and paste. All right, this is basically how you make a map. Okay, very quick, right? There's a legend here. You can customize your legend, everything, right? It's up to you. So there are different things here, different options here that you can play with, right? If you want, okay. You can change the legend if you want. You can put in a title. For example, right now the users are able to zoom in, zoom out, right? You can disable that if you want, right? You can also put in a header, right? Sarawak State Elections 2016 results. Okay, now I have a header, right? You can have subtitle, you can have text, right? You can have footer, source name, right? Note, map courtesy of Merdeka Center. Guys, do me a favor, please. Whenever you use this map file, the JSON file, right? Please credit Merdeka Center. Please, it is from them, right? SBR doesn't provide any map file, right? SBR only sells you physical map. So Merdeka Center actually convert the physical map into a digital map and share with me so that I can share with you guys, right? But the deal is that you have to credit them whenever you use the map. Can you do that? If you don't do that and you publish the map and I can recognize it, I'm gonna fine you, okay? Right, so please credit them. If not, in the future, I won't be able to get any map files from them, okay? And it was hard work. It was hard work to convert the physical map from SBR into a digital map, right? So please, whenever you use it, just give credit, right? You can put it in the map like what I did. I put it under note, right? Or you can put it in your story. Just make sure that you credit them, right? Thanks, guys. This is very important, right? Okay. All right, now the last step is that, how do I publish this map, right? So the first thing is that I need to click export and publish. Okay. So first you publish first. You just click publish. Once it is published, it becomes green color. And now you have two options to do that. One is that you can embed it on the website. If you embed it on the website, right, you just get this code and then pass to your web developer and tell them that I want to embed this map in my website. They'll be able to do that for you. Or you are running on a WordPress, you can also do this. This is called a embed code, right? If your developer says that, hey, this doesn't work, you can also you can change the code type to iframe. Usually iframe is like universal thing that it's like how you embed a YouTube video on your website, right? It is actually embedded as an iframe. So you can do that same for this map, right? And if you embed that, then your map is actually interactive like this one. Okay, it's interactive. Okay, got it? Okay.
King, just now the search option, right? Because you put your name as the N01, so you would have to search by N01.
I see. Thank you. If you change your name, the name to another, let's say the name of the Jalon. Yeah, let's do that. Jalon. Okay. So now you're able to search for Jalon name. Any Chong? Yeah, Chong. Okay. Yeah. All right. So that's how it works. Thanks, Trina. Okay. Once you have done anything here, right? You want to update your map, right? You just have to click export and publish again, republish. Okay. So any changes here will be reflected in the maps that you have embedded. Okay. If you embedded the map, you just come in here, you change here, your embedded map will be updated, right? If you embed it in, let's say, 5 different web pages, right? You just have to come back here and change here and click republish. All the 5 embedded maps will be automatically updated. Okay. And it's live. All right. If you want to publish it on a magazine, on your print, right, or you can't embed it on a website, then too bad. You can have to download as an image, and you can embed it as an image file, right? You click download, then you can click the format, JPEG, SVG, or PNG, right? Then you click the size, okay? Then you just click download, right? As simple as that. Okay. Okay, cool. Now we go to a more advanced part. Okay, we have about 10 minutes left, but I think it's good. Is enough. So if you want to show the percentage of votes, okay, we are not to try not just who won which constituency. We want to show the percentage vote. This is where the value comes in, right? I compute the values here to positive, negative, because I can't tell Polish like okay, color BN in blue color and adjust the tones of the blue colors based on the percentage, right? And then have another color for non-BN party, the opposition party, and adjust the tones of the color based on the percentage, right? Can't do that. So it has to be one continuous range of number, right? So in this case, I compute a -100 to 100 range. So it's one range of number, right? So positive means is BN, negative means is opposition, right? And then I use what we call a diverging color palette. So let me show you what is that. Okay. So first thing is that now we want to change the values that so values is always something that we can be colored, right? Can be colored. So we need to change our value. Before that, our value is based on party, right? BN one color, DAP one color, PKR one color. Okay. So now the value, I'm going to change it to Q, okay, Q, right? Q. Okay. And now you see that, wow, there are so many different values here, right? Different percentage, and all each percentage has its own color, which we don't want, right? This is not the way to do it. Right? So how do you fix that? We just have to go back to our region layer, okay? And then under scale type, right? Fill. Fill means that what color to fill in each polygon, right? From categorical means that it is not treating each value as a separate category, right? We just have to change it to numeric. Numeric means that it's a range of continuous number. Okay, it's a range of continuous number. Okay, so now the lowest value is actually -63. The highest value is actually 91%. Okay, so now it's only showing one color, right? So we need two colors, correct? So under the scale type, there's a sequential, there's a diverging. So let's click diverging. Sequential means that from lowest to highest, only one color. Okay, diverging means that there are two colors. Now it's red and blue. Okay, negative means red and blue means positive, right? So it means BN and means the opposition. Okay, then I can also change the domain, right? Domain means that I can adjust the minimum value and the maximum value and the middle value, which is 0. It is always 0, right? Right? Because it's like in the middle, right? If it's bigger than 0, then it's blue color. If it's lower than 0, then it's red color. Okay. So I'm going to click custom. And now minimum, I can put in 100. -100. Maximum, I can put in +100. Sorry, this is mid should be 0. Maximum should be 100. Now I have this is a better map, right? This is a much better map. It allows you to see, the which party win which constituency and how much is their percentage of vote that they got, right? In some area, they actually got like very high vote like this too, right? So now we also need to, now we have this, okay? So now we should hide our legend because this doesn't make sense, right? This doesn't make sense to our readers. Like, why is it -100? What does that mean, right? So usually, if I'm using this two tone colors, two colors palette, I would just go to legend and hide my legend by turning off legend. So there's no legend here. Okay, cool. And we need to change our pop-up a little bit. Now it's not just calon menang and party, but also persen peratusan undi. Okay, and then I'm going to put undi percent here, and also the undi inside L and M inside metadata L M. And remember that now your party is not the value anymore, right? But you still want to show your party in a pop-up box. So that you should put into the metadata as well. So I'm going to put in KL. You can actually do like a range of it. So let's say A to, I'm going to put everything out, B to Q, B to Q, right? That's the easiest way. Everything is in. Okay. All right, got it. But the problem is that, we have columns with the same name, right? Party, undi, undi. So Flourish might get confused, right? What, like when you put party, should I pick this or should I pick this, right? So I'm going to change it to party menang, okay? And then undi menang. Oh, sorry, undi menang, okay? And this is party yang kalah, and then undi yang kalah. Oh, okay, cool. Right, so B to Q, I put everything in. Okay, let's go back here, and then we can then further customize our pop-up box. Okay. So just now party M. Okay. Peratusan undi should be okay. Yeah, peratusan undi, right? So we shouldn't use value anymore because there's negative values here, right? We should use this undi percent. Right? Does it make sense? Because for DAP, right, you also want to show positive, right? You don't want to show negative, right? Because it's confusing. Readers will be like, why the DAP percentage is negative, right? But we compute this column is just so that we can have the two colors color palette, right? Okay, so that's the point. So I put undi percent. So let's go back here and then put undi percent. Okay. Then I also have to put nomor undi. Nomor undi. What is nomor undi? Undi M. Okay. I'm going to put undi M here. Okay. Okay, cool. Peratusan unding is not coming out. Did I make some mistake? Let me see. Undi percent. Oh, so it should be capital, yeah? Undi. The U should be capital. Yep, I now got everything. So after undi, I actually have to put a percent sign. Okay, but now you see that now everything is like stick together, right? You need to break them into different lines. So to break lines, you need to use a HTML code, HTML tag called BR. Don't worry about it. I will paste everything in the chat box.
King, you can also drag bigger the box so that they can see all the rows. Peratusan undi, nombor undi, on the bottom right of that box, you see this little three lines. The small little line at the corner of the box.
At the corner of the box, the small
of the undi and box, where your nombor undi. Yes, at the top, on the right side. Yes, you just drag it.
Yes. Oh, okay. I'm going to just copy and paste into the chat box. Okay, guys, so now you have your nice pop-up, right? If you want to bold the peratusan undi, you can go and put B. If you want to have a line break, you can put in tag BR. BR means break. Bold, B means bold. Okay, so far, this is how you construct a map, right? I'm going to spend another 10 minutes to show you a second map. For those who want to stay on, that will be a bonus. For those who want to go first because you have other things to do, feel free to leave, no problem at all. All right, we just need another 10 minutes, right, to show you another type of election map. Remember, another reminder is that please credit Merdeka Center if you use this map. Okay, thank you very much. All right, the second map. Why I need a second map? Because one thing that I missed just now, sorry, is that you should always put where did you get your data from, right? Source name, so it's SPR, right? And give SPR the link to SPR, please. Where's our SPR? Okay, the official website. Pengundi, no, this is not the one. The Portal Resmi, okay. Yeah, so always, it's a good practice to always tell people where did you get the data from. Okay, so if you put under the source name SPR and you put a source URL, you'll be able to give a hyperlink here. Your readers will be able to know that, okay, this is where you get the data. If they click on it, they were able to go to the SPR website to find the same data as well, right? If it's for transparency, okay? And the note, please credit, Merdeka Center. All right. After everything is done, then I can click export and publish, right? And republish again. Then Yep. And just to show you, if I use this embed code, right, I can test the code first, right? If you don't have access to your website, you can't change things on your website because it is managed by editors or managed by your bosses or managed by your web developer, right? You can use a tool called CodePen, right? And you can put the embed code under HTML, right? I'm going to send you this link, right? This is basically just to test codes. You don't have to register for anything. Go inside, just click start coding and put your code under HTML. Don't put under CSS or JS, just put under HTML. I think you start with something like this, right? This is very hard to see the map, so you can change this is the layout. You can change it to like this, left, right, so it's easier. So this is what you will see when you embed it on your website, right? There will be a credit made with Flourish. Okay? And if it is what do I want to say? Responsive, all right? Which means if you are viewing it on a different screen size, it would automatically resize based on your screen size. So for a mobile phone, it could look like this, mobile phone. Okay, for desktop, of course, it looks like this. So this is a cool thing, right? So your map won't be chopped off when you're showing it on mobile screen. Okay, so now time for the second map, right? Why do we need second map? Is that if you look at this, right, you'll see that, right, all these areas, this constituency, they have like huge area, right? They look very prominent on the map, but actually they are less important. Why? Because those are small constituencies with a smaller number of voters, and you won't be able to see how many seats actually won by the opposition, right? You have to zoom in here. Then only you know opposition actually have 1, 2, 3, 4 seats here, right? If you zoom out like this, you won't be able to know. You thought that this is 1 seat. Actually, there are 4 seats here, right? So this is the problem with urban and rural difference, right? Rural is always huge, the area, but they are less important because they have less numbers of seats and less number of voters, right? So one way of doing a map is to change the shape of the map to something what we call a hex map. So here I have made a hex map for Sarawak, and I'm going to show you how it looks like. So hex map, some of you might have seen this kind of map before. So let me just open up and you can have a look. Not this one. Sorry, guys. Probably this one. Yeah, hex tile. Okay, I already saved it. Yep. So map like this. So this one is very clear that who won, right? Okay, there are 4 seats here. How many seats here? This is usually done. For example, if you look at Malaysia elections results 2018. If you use the real map, it actually looks like this. It looks like this, right? There is a real map, right? So you see that, KL is here. There are many seats won by opposition, but we won't be able to see them because they are all very small area, right? But if you do like this, then you will be able to see actually the opposition won more seats in Peninsula than the Pakatan Harapan won more seats in Peninsula than Barisan Nasional, right? But looking at this, you won't be able to tell that. You thought that they are like half-half, okay? So that is why more and more people now use this kind of map, hexagon map, right, to represent number of seats in elections, right? Because the areas doesn't tell you the real story, okay? So that is why we use that, okay? So how do we use this? I'm going to show you very quickly. It's actually the same methodology. We just have to change the base map, right? So can you click new visualization? Again, go to blank. Go to data, upload the data file, and this time upload the second GeoJSON file that I shared with you, the hex tile, the file that ends with the word hex tile. Open, continue. select the column, go to preview, and remember, go to auto bound, and the projection, change it to Miller. Okay, now this is the hexagon file, right? So now we have the shape file now, is this the shape, right? And names, okay? Right, it's the same thing, right? You have the parliament code, parliament name, state code, state name, right? The next thing is we just repeat, we just merge it with the CSV file. So put in the same CSV file that has the results. Make sure that the state constituency code in the Polygon file match with the Dune code from the CSV. Okay, then click merge now. Then done. Now what we are going to do is that we are going to put the values. The value is O. Okay, meta, I'm going to put everything under meta, B to O. Okay, B to O, so that everything is blue color. Then go to preview. Remember, under regions map, we need to change from categorical to numerical, right? And diverging, because it's two colors, right? Then we do custom. Minimum is -100, mid is 0, and maximum is 100. And we are done. Okay. Now, a reminder is that under the footer, please put map courtesy of data N. Thank you so much. Yeah, I spent like 6 hours converting that map, that Sarawak map, into this hexagon map, right? Nobody made it before, so I have to do it myself. Okay, so is that cool? You can please credit me if you use this, right? Data N, right? Yeah, the N is capital. Okay, data N, right? You want to put a hyphen, is fine. You don't want to put a hyphen, that's fine as well. Okay, right. So now you can see that why are they two seats that are gray color, right? Because these are the seats that won without contest. Okay, won without contest. If you scroll down here, you will see there is one seat that has no undi data, like everything is null and null and null, right? So don't leave it blank if you don't have data, just put null, okay? Put null, right? Because these two guys won without contest, okay? So I just put everything null, and then it will appear in another color. You can also change the color here by changing under region. You can change missing value, right? There's a missing value under region. You can use a pattern. You can use field color. Okay, so now there's a color. If you don't want that, you use a pattern. You don't like this, pattern, you can change the square size. I think if you change it to 1, it will be the same. Yeah, you can change it to 1, and it will be like this. You can change the color as well. Yeah, if you want another second color, I think gray is good. Gray means that it's neutral, right? Gray is neutral. Okay. So compare this with this. Which one do you like? This one, people know that this is Sarawak. Okay, good. But it doesn't tell you the number of seats. Okay, it doesn't tell you the real situation that there are 4 seats at this. This is actually Bandar Kuching. Okay, but this one will tell you that they won 4 seats here and then several seats here. And also this one, the 2 uncontested seats, are not that obvious as well, right? This one looks much more obvious. You might want to ask me that this map is distorted, right? This doesn't look like Sarawak at all. The reason is because, when you need to, the big one, you need to make it into small hexagon. The small seats here, you have to make it into big hexagon, right? That is when the distortion happen, right? And this is something that we can't really avoid. Like this one become this one, you see here. Okay, this is what happened when you convert it. Okay, this is parliamentary seat. So I can't use this one because this is parliament. So I have to make myself, I make this one. All right, remember, hide your legend because this -100 doesn't make sense. and you can now everything is in your pop-up box, right? Because you select everything as metadata. So by default, everything would appear here. Okay, you can change it by going to pop-up and then customize it. Yeah. Okay, I don't have to repeat that anymore. So that's it. The two files you can share with your colleagues on Newsroom. I'm fine with that, the JSON. If you want to use the CSV file, maybe there are errors or typos inside. I'm not sure. Okay, I am not sure. Yeah, check that. Okay, I just make this like yesterday. So I'm not sure. I did not like triple double check, right? So make sure that's why I give you the original PDF file from SPR so that you can counter check. Okay. And the way there are some caveats is that the way I show it is that I only show the winners. I don't use. You will notice that I don't use the Jalon Kala data at all. I don't visualize them at all, right? If you want to include them in your pop-up, you can, but you can also opt to remove it. And they only show you the Chalon with the second highest votes. It doesn't show you the other Chalons. If you want all the other Chalons, then you have to compute a different CSV file, okay, with all the different Chalon, and then you can put all the data inside Flourish and include them in your pop-up box if you want to do that. Okay, so that is how you can make maps. Yeah. Any questions so far? So now everyone can make a map, and you can make a map and show it to your website developer saying use the map. You don't have to wait for like someone to make a map for you. And this map is interactive like this. It's nice. Yeah, Trina has a good reminder. All your cell, like here under data here, you can't leave it blank. You need to put null or 0. Here, don't put 0 because 0 shows a value. Okay, so you should put null. I always like if they are missing or like data that is not applicable, I'll just put null. Okay, guys, sorry we overshot for 15 minutes. I hope you find it helpful.